American farmers are going broke, not because of bad weather, not because of bad luck, because they voted to destroy their own markets, then acted shocked when it worked. They cheered for tariffs that killed their exports. They demanded deportations that removed their workforce. They screamed no handouts until they needed one. Now, crops are rotting, workers are gone, and China's buying from Brazil instead. This is what happens when ideology costs more than your farm is worth. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's watch economic gravity do its thing.
There's a reason small farmers are disappearing. They're not inefficient. They're not outdated. They're just in the way. In the way of a system that runs on ultra-processed products. Stuff you can ship across the world, stack high in a warehouse, sell cheap, and repeat. And the less local food we grow, the more we depend on the stuff that isn't food anymore. It keeps us tired, hungry, foggy. It keeps us buying. It keeps us working double just to feel half alive. We're not losing farmers. We're losing the last connection we have to real food. And when that goes, so does our health, our time, and our freedom. Follow for part 2.
Here's the actual problem. Small farms aren't dying from corporate conspiracy. They're dying from self-inflicted wounds. You can't vote to kill your export markets, deport 80% of your labor, then blame the system when you go under. Ultra-processed food wins because you made local production economically impossible. Want real food connections? Stop voting for policies that make growing real food unprofitable.
If you're a farmer and still support Trump, you are a victim of gaslighting. Let's look at the definition, shall we? Gaslighting, the practice of psychologically manipulating someone into questioning their own sanity, memory, or powers of reasoning. Now, I don't know about y'all, but these farmer bailouts that are about to come out, prime evidence of gaslighting. We've been told the tariffs will help. We've been told that he's so good for agriculture. If he's so good for ag, why have we lost so much demand that he's already over here saying, here's $10 billion worth of bailouts after we already got the Biden bucks? Because big ag and the people who own farm debt are lobbying for these payments. Don't get me wrong, some of these payments are going to be make or break for some producers this year. And I'm not talking just like your 20-acre producer, your 500-acre producer. I'm talking your couple thousand-acre producer. Pretty okay size depending on what state you're in, okay? South Dakota, 2,000 acres is pretty solid. But you know who's going to benefit from it most? All the big farmers are going to make much more than any of the little guys. However, big ag is going to benefit from it most because they own the farm debt. The really sad thing, though, is that this shouldn't even be about Republican versus Democrat. This should be about policy and how do we improve our ag economy. Fighting the wrong battle by fucking picking people who don't help us, not bailing us out. That's not what I'm talking about with help, but people who just stay out of our markets. Why is that so hard?
Agriculture benefits from free trade. That's it. That's the whole lesson. When you treat international markets like a negotiation game, you lose. China didn't come crawling back. They found Brazil, signed 20-year contracts, built new infrastructure, and now American farmers are sitting on unsold soybeans, wondering why economic consequences feel so personal. You can't tariff your way to prosperity when you're selling commodities. You just price yourself out and let competitors take your customers permanently. Free trade isn't ideology. It's how you pay your mortgage.
We need to understand that agriculture benefits from free trade. And if we are doing something that is completely adverse to free trade, we are hurting American farmers. This doesn't need to be Trump v. Biden. This doesn't need to be Republican versus Democrat. This needs to be look at the facts. Let's have a conversation and let's understand how the economics of our industry actually work so that we can start voting specifically for people who are going to make sure that they at least put in policies that don't interrupt our profitability or shut the government down so that any of us that have FSA loans can't even write a check.
Government shutdown. FSA loans frozen. Farmers can't even make their payments. This is what small government looks like when you're the one who needs government to function. And here's the thing nobody wants to say. Bailouts don't fix structural problems. You can throw $24 billion at farmers today, but if China's still buying from Brazil, if your workers are deported, if equipment costs are up 40% from tariffs on parts, you're still going bankrupt. Just slower. These bailouts reward failure. They let people keep making the same catastrophic decisions because they know rescue is coming. Meanwhile, someone working 2 jobs gets told to tighten their belt, but a farmer who voted to nuke his own market, here's a check. That's not free market capitalism. That's socialism for people who hate socialism.
You know what sucks about every fucking Trump supporter, for real, is that I posted a video today about farmers, right, and how they voted for exactly what they voted for and how they're finding out right now. And in the background, I was actually doing research about where I can buy. I'm in Texas, so I wanted to do research on where I can buy beef from to support my local farmers, because as much as I think that y'all are stupid as fuck, I still hate the billionaires more than I want to see y'all suffer. Like, bro, we have a common enemy, right? But since everybody wants to get all tough and, oh, like, you look a certain way or, like, go lose weight, like, okay, then you can just lose your fucking farm, because you actually had somebody here that I was like, all right, how can I start contributing to society? How can I start helping, like my neighbor, like, right? Like, Jesus tells me to love my neighbor, so I'm trying to love my neighbor, but you know what? I'm gonna love H-E-B more. Like, I will get all of my beef directly from H-E-B. And when people ask me, like, what I'm doing to contribute to society, I'm gonna say, like, I try to help the farmers, but I got criticized for how I looked, how I talked. And you know what? Never mind. Like, y'all can literally just sit there and fuck all the way off. And I'm gonna continue living and, like, just have my tax, or not my tax, have my dollars speak somewhere else. And they're gonna continue speaking for H-E-B. They're not gonna speak for the bumfuck farmers around here anymore that have literally zero education because somebody wanted to help you and you just shit all over them. So you got what you deserve, baby. You got every fucking piece of what you deserved. Fuck yourself.
Watch what just happened here. Someone actively trying to support local farmers, researching where to buy local beef, trying to put money directly into farm communities, gets attacked for how they look, and then wonders why their money goes to H-E-B instead. This is economic suicide. When you'd rather insult potential customers than take their money, you're not defending principles. You're funding your own extinction. Small farms survive through community relationships, through people who care about local food sources. When you alienate those people over politics, you just handed that revenue to Walmart. You know what big corporations love? When you drive your own customers away. Makes their job easier.
So what's going on with sugar in the US? So part of the MAGA movement, or a subdivision of the MAGA movement, is a thing called MAHA. So it's Make America Healthy Again. Now, they push the belief that sugar is poison, and as a result, people start to turn away from sugar. Now, what that's meant is there's now a decrease in demand on sugar beet in the US. It's about a 1% decrease. The sugar industry in the US employs a lot of people and a lot of farmers. They produce huge amounts of sugar beet, millions and millions of tons, and sugarcane as well. 1% decrease in sugar is around 100,000 tons of sugar, but that requires around 800,000 tons of sugar beet. The great 800,000 tons of sugar beet requires about 30,000 acres. So it's a very large amount of area. And so this is impacting farmers directly. And so what's happening is that there's a decrease in demand for sugar, and therefore there's a decrease in demand for the products that these farmers are growing. And this means that the farmers are going to struggle as the price gets pushed down. And the irony here is the farmers who grow sugar beet are often almost universally Republican voters. So they're struggling now with the fact they voted for a process, they voted for a government which is actually saying that their product is poison. So the obvious thing for these farmers to do is to switch products. Because of where they are, because the soil, the most common product to switch to is in fact soy. So the farmers that voted for Trump and MAGA and MAHA are now actually stuck because they can't grow sugar, or they're having diminished demand and they can't switch to soy.
MAHA calls sugar poison. Sugar beet farmers lose demand. 1% drop means 800,000 tons of beets nobody wants. That's 30,000 acres producing crops that won't sell. The logical pivot? Soybeans. Except that market's already destroyed by tariffs. China's gone. Brazil took over. So sugar farmers are trapped, can't sell what they grow, Can't switch to alternatives because those markets are dead too. This is the perfect economic storm. Your own movement demonizes your product while simultaneously destroying your backup options. You can't vote away market forces. They just compound until you're liquidating equipment.
Did you ever imagine that you would see a day when people believe that the poorer you are, the more patriotic you are? People are struggling to pay rent. They're struggling to take care of their kids. They're struggling to buy food, keep the lights on, and the Trump regime just keeps wanting more and more and more, and they're giving it. They're giving it. They're willingly turning it over to billionaires. The more you struggle, the bigger a patriot you are. It makes no goddamn sense. I do have to say this, that I observed the MAGA who are on food stamps right now, you know, the biggest demographic of people on assistance, they ain't saying much here lately. They thought that they were just gonna fuck everybody else over and make them miserable. They never thought it would be them. That's such a cruel, fucked up way to think about things. It's batshit. It's just insanity. And the other MAGA, apparently not on assistance, are tearing them apart. It's horrifying. Entertaining, but horrifying. Tell me what you think in the comments. See you next video.
This Kenyan farmer understands something American farmers forgot. Agriculture is a business. You want 400,000 shillings from watermelons? Hire an agronomist who knows how to scale production. Invest in expertise. But people hire cheap labor, pay minimum wage, expect maximum results from workers who've never seen that kind of money. The farms surviving right now? They diversified markets, invested in automation, hired experts who understand commodity trading. The ones failing? They believed political promises instead of reading economic data. Working harder doesn't save you. Working smarter does.
Why farmers don't make money in farming.
Told us that you can be able to make 400,000 shillings growing watermelon in 4 months. But I go and get a guy who is more of a watchman, and I cannot even employ an agronomist who I can pay even 15 or 20,000 shillings. So you want this guy to make for you 1 million shillings. But this guy has no clue. This guy has never, ever, ever seen 100,000 shillings. And seeing it, I don't necessarily mean having held, but he has never envisioned to see 100,000, because 100,000 is just 10 months salary of 10,000 each. So to make money, you also have to invest in it. And investing, you have to invest in systems. And the first system you have to invest in is yourself as a farmer.
The MAGA farmers are starting to crack. They don't like this. Ran into a couple of former diehard MAGA farmers yesterday, and they aren't having this. He's losing support. All of a sudden, that 37% seems extraordinarily high. Follow me for more hope-core farming content from leftist perspective.
You see all these farmers on TikTok complaining now about Trump, who voted for Trump? It's funny how people don't care about something until it directly affects them. Countless farmers are on the verge of losing their farms. One guy has a wheat farm. He's already lost $400,000 since Trump's been in office. Another guy has a sweet potato farm, 200 acres. He's already lost $500,000. Farmers in our country are losing their government contracts. The government is reneging on the contracts they already have with these farmers, and these farmers depend on these contracts. The agricultural sector relies on billions of dollars of government assistance for loans, grants, disaster relief, and conservation practices. These programs have been around since FDR. Now, a federal judge already blocked the funding freeze that Trump instilled because it's against the law. But farmers around the country, they're telling us, it's all over social media. They're receiving.
Nearly 80% of voters in what are called farming-dependent counties voted for President Trump in the last election.
80% of farming counties voted for this. Now they're at town halls. I'm about to lose my farm. I'm pissed. Elections have consequences. One wheat farmer, down $400,000. Sweet potato operation, lost $500,000. Government contracts canceled. Disaster relief blocked. These programs existed since the Great Depression because they stabilize a volatile industry. But the small government crowd wanted them gone until they needed them. A federal judge had to block funding freezes because they're literally illegal, but damage is done, contracts broken, farms liquidating. You can't run agriculture on vibes. You need stable markets, reliable labor, predictable policy, none of which exists now.
I feel like a lot of American farmers, cattle people, a lot of people probably feel let down currently. Now, maybe there's a method to the madness, that's still to be seen.
Many are now taking their frustrations directly to Republican lawmakers at town halls across the country.
I'm about ready to lose my farm. I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you.
I'm on a side quest at the moment and I'm supervising mango picking in the Northern Territory. A lot of people have noticed in the videos that I've made previously that all the people that are actually picking the fruit are from Vanuatu. And they're asking a really good question, which is, are they being paid appropriately? Anyway, this is something really interesting and I knew nothing about this prior to 5 days ago. So I'm going to answer it, but I want to preface with the fact that I only learned this a few days ago. So if I get some of my information wrong, it's because I'm still learning it and I'm not an expert. However, these guys are from Vanuatu. They come over here for the mango season. So they fly over for 4 months, they pick for 4 months and then they go home. What I've learned is that they're on like a sponsored agreement. It's something that's arranged with the government and they are paid award wages. So they are getting paid the same as what anyone else would be if they were here. The reason why these guys come over is for a number of reasons. Number one is that they know how to do this. So the sap that comes out of here can burn your skin really badly. And if you don't know how to work around it, you can actually really hurt yourself. For me, I don't know anything about mango. So I've been advised to like not be silly and don't like go out of my way to like pick too much fruit. Because if I do and I get the sap on me, I'll burn myself. So these guys know how to pick the fruit and you can watch them in my content, the way that they handle it, they never actually get close to here. The way they break the stem off, they'll either take it from the top or they'll like bend it against something so that they don't actually physically touch it. The reason why this happens is because in areas like this, getting people is really, really difficult. And a lot of the people that do come in are on like working holiday visas. So what ends up happening is these people end up burning their skin or they just get burnt out from the job because it is like a very like fast-paced job. The people from Vanuatu come over, they, as we would know, coming from a developing country, they will come in and do a really high quality of work because they come onto Australian award wages. They exchange rate, they earn an awful lot of money and it allows them to go back and build houses and put their children through school. Like the guys that I was speaking to that are working here tonight say that it's a huge privilege to be able to come over here because it helps set them up for the rest of their life. So the team leader here, Terry, he is a builder back at home. And even when he's a builder at home and works every single day, it's only enough money to be able to feed his family throughout the year. He comes here, he works for 4 months and he goes home and now he's got money to build a house and he has money to be able to send his kids to school. So they are definitely paid appropriately for the work that is done in this country, which I think is really good. There's a lot of controversy around this, so I want to tackle it really lightly. But the quality of work that you get out of these guys is significantly higher because it is changing their lives and it's really competitive to get here. So for them, you can't just walk in and get sent to Australia. You have to go through the process. It's a job like anything else, but getting in is a privilege for them and it's something that's really exciting for them. I think it's a great program because we get really high quality workers. We then reduce the risk of people getting burnt or injured and then they get to take home something that helps change their whole life. So the answer is yes, they get paid well. They're super happy to be here. The conditions that they work under, they're capped at a certain amount of hours a day, so you can't flog them. Most of them wish there were more hours that they could work. So that's the answer to that. I think it's really cool and this is the outcome.
This is what functional immigration policy looks like. Vanuatu workers come on government agreements, paid award wages, same as locals. They're trained professionals who know the work. 4 months of labor. They build houses back home, send kids to school. Farms get skilled, reliable workers. Everyone wins. Australia treated agricultural migration as mutual benefit. America treated it as invasion. Result, Australian farms run smoothly. American farms have 80% workforce shortages and crops rotting in fields. You can't harvest with patriotism. You need workers. Actual, trained, paid workers. And when you deport them all, you discover that Americans won't do this work isn't propaganda. It's basic labor economics.
Trump really hates his own voters, doesn't he? I mean, most people on SNAP benefits live in red states. And not only that, but most of the farmers who rely on those SNAP benefits to buy their food also live in red states. It literally seems like Donald Trump is trying everything he can to destroy the United States of America. And it's fucked up because he's actually going after the red states first. Like, this SNAP benefits not going through is going to affect red states more than blue states. Red states have less money, red states have more people on government assistance, and red states have less social safety nets of their own to help these people. almost all of the SNAP benefits were designed to help American farmers. They're there so that Americans can buy food from American farmers. If you cut those off, all of a sudden there's no money to buy that food. And after Donald Trump already screwed over the farmers with the tariffs and then giving a bunch of money to Argentina, who's now getting the soybean deals and everything, it really seems like he's just trying to destroy all the farmers in America. Maybe that's just what it looks like, but everything Donald Trump has done seems like he just wants this country to fall apart.
Yeah, we voted for Trump. Daddy owns a 1,000-acre farm up here in North Dakota. Yeah, we love Trump. Yes, 80% of our workers didn't show up this week. No, I do not know how to harvest the grain. Oh yeah, Daddy said we'll go out of business if we have to pay Americans to do this work. Do I regret my vote? No, not at all. We are putting America first. Oh, it's quite possible we're gonna go out of business, but we still love Trump, even if he put us out of business directly. Ugh, plus the tariffs coming in, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be really rough on us. No, see, if we had let the Democrats win, then trans people would be allowed to exist, and we can't have that. Yeah, it's okay even if we go out of business, because it's important that less than 1% of the country gets bullied and doesn't feel comfortable living their lives. We will literally sacrifice our livelihood and our entire way of life just to make sure.
MAGA to the front. It's your turn. You up the back. All right, now let's chat. So y'all so ungrateful. Y'all so funny, but y'all so ungrateful. Hear me out. Hear me out. Like, don't scroll. Hear me out. So I'm going through my For You page, and I keep seeing all these MAGA Republicans crying about their stamps and stuff. Like, don't cry, Bessie. Don't cry, Bessie. Them stamps gone, baby. You ain't getting them stamps in November, baby. You might not get them in December either, honey. But this is what you voted for. You won. You won. Stop being ungrateful. You won. If I hear one more farmer talking about some soybeans, you won. Ungrateful ass bitches.
Don't cry, Bessie. You won. Perfect summary. People who spent years calling food stamps welfare for the lazy are now losing their SNAP benefits and melting down. You voted for government cuts. You got government cuts. Farmers sitting on unsold soybeans with no workers and no buyers, shocked at how this happened. This is the lesson. When you vote against your material interest for culture war points, you lose. Not theoretically. In your bank account. Right now. People tried to warn you. Economists explain this. You called them coastal elites who don't understand real America. Turns out they understood economics, and economics doesn't care about your feelings. The math was always simple. You can't destroy your own markets and expect to stay in business. You can't deport your workforce and expect crops to harvest themselves. You can't demand free markets and bailouts simultaneously. This isn't politics. It's arithmetic. These farmers aren't victims of opposing parties or foreign governments. They're experiencing what happens when ideology meets economics, and economics always wins. There were solutions. Trade agreements to strengthen, immigration reforms to implement, market diversification strategies to pursue. Instead, slogans, performance, bankruptcy. So here's the question. Will they learn or double down? History suggests doubling down. Drop a comment below. Subscribe if you want more economic reality checks. Share this with someone who still thinks policy doesn't have consequences. Because this story, it's just getting started. The bill's still coming due.